I mean, the first section is like pretty straightforward here. It's mostly just run to the right and jump. There's only like two things that I think I do here on the first screen. You might have to adjust your jumps because the AI doesn't always do exactly the same thing. Like the guys that walk on the ground can sometimes like stop randomly. So like that's just something you got to adjust to it as you're going. So right here, oh, I like that my mouse is actually on the screen. So right here, this is like the first thing. I wait on this corner basically. Like I don't let go right, but I like just stall on that corner for like as short a time as I can, just because if you jump too early, you'll run into these missiles. So that's like one thing I do. And that like you can cut it even closer than what I did in this clip. These clips are I'm gonna have made these really fast, so they're not necessarily gonna be 100%, but you notice here I'm doing the thing where I jump and swing instead of just swinging right from the ground. Here I jumped and swung. I don't know how to explain it, but it seems like that it makes the setup for killing this dude over here a little bit easier. Because if he keeps moving to the left, you pretty much just do the shortest jump you can and swing, and he'll be like right along there'll be a wall here once the screen coloring comes back in that he'll be up against. If he doesn't keep moving in, you just walk off this edge and swing when you like fall off the edge. There I did the short jump. But if he like stalled and just like waited, then you just fall off the edge and swing like right where I'm floating right now, and you'll kill him. And then this last section is the same. Here's the one time where I think it's okay to swing from the ground. So I swing from the ground, which normally you don't want to do because that stops you from moving. But when power-ups drop, and I didn't mention this in the first video, but power-ups, you have to wait to pick them up, which anyone who's playing the game is going to realize that, so I think it's fine. So even though I wait for this swing, like I can't even pick the power-up up as fast as I can. Like I actually have to wait even a little longer than just the swing. So that's why I didn't bother doing a jump swing on that ever. If there's some reason that you could do a jump swing there, maybe you should do a jump swing there. But that's basically all of first section on stage 1. No big deal. Anyone can do that in like 20-ish some seconds. I think I got like a 25 on it on Super Game Boy. Section 2 in stage 1 is pretty straightforward too. It's mostly just jumping over stuff and killing enemies. Oh, one thing I did not mention in the initial tutorial that might be important or might not be. It's hard to control, but sometimes when you land out of jumps or from falling on the ground, you'll stop. Because there's some weird glitch where you get like pushed down into the ground a little, so the game has to push you back up out of the ground before you can start moving. So sometimes I'll do little jumps like that. It's purely psychological. You have no control over it because it's subpixel dependent, whether you actually run into the glitch or not. So, this one here is the same deal as that one in the last screen, where I swung from the ground because you have to wait for it no matter what. The enemy up here can continue to move left. He doesn't in this clip, unfortunately. But as long as you keep holding right and get up fast enough, you'll be able to use the invincibility frames from picking up the item to go through this enemy and kill him at the same time. You pretty much just swing up, do a jump, and as soon as you can out of the jump, swing. You can't swing on the first. You can't swing and jump on the same frame. So it's like you jump, 1 frame later you swing, and then that'll be your escape from this dude. See there, he obviously didn't keep moving left, so I didn't have to do that. But if he would have kept moving left there, he would have still died, and I wouldn't have gotten him. I should also mention, you can actually jump over these missiles that these guys are shooting out. But I believe it seems like it's like frame perfect. It could be even more perfect than that. You might have to have like luck on your side too with like subpixels and stuff. But I was never able to get it down consistently to where the point where I could jump over them. And I think it would be faster if you were frame perfect about it, but never happened. So here, the one on the right is a ninpo, so that's the only one I'm gonna pick up. When you're just starting out, I'd pick up the one on the left too. That's a big health, and like that'll basically make you will never fail this first stage if you're picking that up. Because it'll give you full health here, and you only take 2. You'll have 4 HP on the boss. So I'd start out. It's very minimal time lost to pick it up. Since I didn't pick up the one on the left, I'm a little bit further to the right. Oh, also, you notice I should mention this too. I jumped to pick up that item. I don't know if jumping actually helps to pick it up. I think it's more along the lines of my timing is better. So, like, I jumped so that I'd get my rightward momentum started at the right time and pick it up as soon as I could. But most items I jump to pick up so that I get going at the right time. So in this case, I'm gonna land like inside of this little Roomba-looking guy. As long as you jump fast enough, he won't hit you because you'll have the invincibility frames. But it's pretty tight. If you pick up the large health, even if you pick up the large health and jump to the right, you land to the left of this guy, so you can just jump over him. You're never in any danger then. This one, I went through like a couple different strategies for this guy here at the end too. You can actually, so I killed him there, which maybe is not the best option. If you jump over, even if you don't actually gap the missile, if you get hit late enough, you can actually get all the way through that enemy without killing him. Like you'll jump the missile, get hit, land, and jump. I don't know if the jump matters. If it might, because it might have like a weirdly shaped hitbox. But I've already gotten to the point where I've gotten bonked and made it to the right of that enemy without getting hit an extra time. So that's all there is on segment 2. So segment 2, not that hard either. Alright, so here's the first boss. Its actual name is Spider. So this boss is pretty straightforward. I'm like 99% confident that there's a manipulation for this boss, where essentially you after he jumps up, he has to like already have landed on the ceiling. Basically, like he'll jump up to the ceiling, land on the ceiling. I don't know if it has to be like on the frame where he like attaches to the ceiling, but if you inch your way forward just like a frame or two, like a pixel or two, and then start swinging, maybe you don't even have to swing, but I always just swing, he'll come down immediately, like right where you're at. He'll like, however his AI works, he'll be like, oh, I see my target, and then he'll jump down. He seems to aim somehow relative to where you're at, So if you actually run through him, he'll jump into the wall, which was another strategy I was trying to do, but I ended up getting hit too often doing it. But so here, let's take a look at this. I'll also say this video is not perfect. You should get 5 hits here on the first one. I went back and forth between using the ninpo on this first hit or on a different one, and I think actually the best one I had was he came back down on the left of me, and I fired a ninpo facing to the left, so he got hit back to the left a bunch of times because the ninpo hits him, and he also gets hit back to the left, and then he gets hit again with the ninpo. And I think that was like the best split I've gotten with it. So I usually don't use the ninpo on the very first one. I just take the 5 hits, which I messed up here because sometimes you mess up. Notice he jumped, and there you saw me. I moved a little bit forward when he hit the ceiling there. Right here. There, just that little like inch forward. It's hard to pause and unpause the video here. And then I'm like swing it, and you see he just moved forward, and he's gonna like, oh, I'm coming right back down. So there I used the ninpo. If you noticed, I'm trying to jump and hit him when he's going up, because you can still hit him like almost all the way up till he gets like right to the top of the ceiling. There's some point where he becomes invulnerable, but wherever your jump is, you're able to hit him. Ninpo can hit him up there too, obviously, just not once he's on the ceiling. I think he's invulnerable. So here he came down, you notice he jumped to the left, which sometimes that happens. Pretty much you just turn around and start swinging that again, man. As long as, notice I did the same thing again. He got to the ceiling, I inched my way forward, he came back down. That's all there is to that. Pretty straightforward. I'm generally always leaving here with 3 ninpo. So, that was exactly the way that stage was supposed to go. This is the start of Section 1, Stage 2. This is kind of, I'm going to say this is the point where I think this run actually becomes much more interesting. So the way this game works, because of like the ninpo management and you not having to worry about your health, there's like a lot of options you can take on routes and like adjustments you can make if you mess something up. So I'm going to try and do my best to like talk about all of the different possibilities that you can do here. What I ended up doing for these videos, I did what I did in the world record run. There's actually a part in Section 3 that I think is different, that I think could be faster, but I'll mention that when I get to the Part 3 part. So anyway, here's Part 1. I mean, obviously, you just jump slash. There's no special there. So this part, though, I'm going to mention, I brought it up before in the starting tutorial video. The ninpo, when you fire the ninpo, if you fire from the ground, you can't move immediately. But if you fire in the air and then land on the ground, you can move immediately. You have to do that here. If you land up on this next platform and fire from the ground, you're actually, there's a gun guy like just off screen here. You'll hit this gun guy here, but there's another like floaty guy that's gonna come in up here that you'll miss. And there's some backups for if you miss him where you can still deal with him without losing any time. But it's just like, if you're gonna do this, you might as well just hit both of them. So you see, I'm not on the ground when I'm firing. And then I can immediately jump. Like, there was like no time lost there. And I killed both of those dudes, neither of them showed up. The reason I do this instead of the old world record crawled across these grates here, from what I can tell, crawling on grates is slower than walking. So you want to avoid crawling around the grates whenever you can. This, you can jump over this and swing. I try to swing as early as I possibly can out of my jump here. Again, this could be a psychological thing, but it seems like I dodge this way more often the earlier I get my swing off. And then I do a turnaround and hit that guy. I'm good. There's going to be a new trick here that I do. So I turned around and hit that dude. There could possibly be a better way to do that, where instead of killing that dude right there, you'll kill that guy down here. But you're going to have to kill that guy turning around at some point no matter what, because going right, he doesn't line up where he needs to line up, even if you take a damage boost. And I avoid taking a damage boost here, so that I can take different damage boosts later on. But so I just turn around as fast as I can, jump and kill that dude, and then turn to the right. Otherwise, you're coming down here, and this dude, normally if you run straight into this wall right here and swing, you won't kill this guy. But the way the collision is in the game, if you jump into corners, you'll clip into the wall. And this guy is actually just at the right spot where if you clip into this wall, like, basically 1 or 2 pixels, it doesn't even have to be very far, you'll be far enough into the wall to kill this guy. And so, like, you can see I'm, like, super... This was, like, a really good clip. I'm super far into the wall right here. You can be less than that and still hit that dude. But if you run straight into the wall, you won't be able to hit him. Or jump, like, too early and just, like, don't get the clip. And so, doing that, normally you deboost on these bullets and just run through that guy. But if you do this, like, you can just jump immediately after he dies and avoid... This bullet will never hit you. I say never. If you did it frame perfectly, maybe you could jump fast enough to hit that bullet, but it's so close that you might as well not take a deboost there, because you stalled to take the deboost, so I don't take it. This is all normal, jump over slash that dude. So here's another different part that I do compared to the old world record. The old world record stuck on this left wall and came straight down. Which can work. I think going to the right is better, because these Roomba dudes, their like AI is different depending on which side. I think it's which side of them you're on when you're like coming down. So if you come down the right side, they're always going to the left, and you'll be able to sneak right by them. So the one caveat to this is that when you come down to this last one, down here off screen, off the bottom, there's a gun guy waiting. His activation is like right here where this Roomba guy is, so you want to get left as fast as you can so that the guy down here will start firing. On the off chance that you messed up, I'm going to take a deboost on this guy, so it actually doesn't matter if he's firing right away or not. But on the off chance that you messed up, you might not want to take a deboost, so you'd want him firing earlier so that you have to wait less time. If you got bonked up at the top section on one of those things, or messed something up, you could just stall here on this thing. He'll fire a couple shots and then just go down without taking a deboost. It's not very long to wait, and it'll keep your HP at wherever you want to have your HP. The route I'm doing, I want to leave this screen with only 1 damage. So I take a hit here and then just fall down. This part has been confusing me for like a long time. So there's you go left here and you fall straight down, and then you want to hold right. And when you're holding right, you'll fall into another machine gun guy. But occasionally the machine gun guy will hit you, and I think why is because of the exact same reason why we're able to hit that guy up top. You can clip into this wall here. So if you see, I think I'm like 1 pixel clipped into this wall here. You can be clipped a lot further. Like, your knee can be clipped into this wall. And if you see that, if you're holding right, I think you will always get hit by a bullet down here on this guy. This guy will stand up, fire a bullet, and you'll get hit by it. And my thought is the reason that happens is because his, like, the same thing as up top, his activation must be, like, just, like, a couple pixels to the right of this wall. And so you're activating him earlier when you're clipped into the wall. So when that happens, I don't, I let go of right for, like, a split second. Somewhere, like, down here when I'm going towards him, so that I'm on the left of the bullet a little bit more. I think I might have even done that on this one, basing it on where I'm landing. And then, so you just kill that guy, do a little flip up here, doing a little flip over this ground fire thing. This one you actually have to do a larger jump. I don't think it has to be a full jump, but it can't be a one-frame jump. And then swing, kill that dude, and off you go. End of stage. Alright. Here comes section 2. Section 2 is not that bad. So I do a little tiny jump here. You land on the conveyor belts that push you right faster, and so that's why I'm doing this little jump. Although it looks like I messed it up in this video. Did I go back? I actually went back. Let me forgot. I think, do I do this again? Yeah, I totally did make a second one. Alright. Try this again. Alright. This is the section 2 of stage 2. So right here I do a little tiny jump so that I land on the left side of the conveyor belt better. Basically, the earlier on this conveyor belt, the faster you're going to be moving. So I try to land on it as soon as I could. This guy, if you duck and, like, if you hold down and push left, you'll look left and you can swing and kill this guy without needing to jump. Again, I'm doing it for the sole purpose of just staying on the conveyor belt longer so that I'm moving to the right faster longer. Here, I've decided to, since I'm full HP, I'm gonna take a hit from this. There's a guy here. If you're not at full HP or one missing, this was a reshoot, so actually I should be missing down 1 right now. If you're at 1 HP missing, you should just take the bonk from this guy because you're gonna refill in a second. So this bonk, like, doesn't really matter. The ninpo's better used later on, I think. If you're at 2 HP missing already or more, I'd shoot this guy with a ninpo and just not take the damage. So here I take the damage. And then this part's important too. So here I kill this guy. Whether he's alive or not, it doesn't matter. But I jump off of this platform at a very specific place because the floating enemies that are just to the right are extremely affected by your elevation and, like, how long it took you to get through this stage. So I jump not exactly all the way on the right. I think I waited a little bit too long here, but it still works. Even a little bit further to the left is better. So you do, like, a short hop down onto this tiny conveyor belt, and then a tall jump over that bullet to kill this guy, and then another tall jump to kill this guy. Ideally, when you're doing this, you don't ever want to land on these, like, platforms that stick out. You want to just be jumping straight into the conveyor belts, because then you're always getting the boost from the conveyor belt, too. And so, like I said, I think I was just a little bit too far. Like, my setup was just a little bit wrong here, so I didn't land where I was supposed to land. This last guy, you want to land just barely on this platform and then swing when you fall off of it and kill that guy to get under his bullet. And then I also stay low here just to get as much as I can out of these conveyor belts and then flip up. Because the time you take to flip up is the same no matter where you are, so you might as well just use as much of those conveyor belts as you can. I've also been trying to do, this is like a Mega Man thing, but I think it works here too, where you basically jump early so that you have your falling momentum as soon as possible when you're falling down pits. So I do that as often as I can. How much it actually helps, I don't know, but I think it's worth it. So here, this is another one of those spots where your position actually matters. You want to be where I was. If you're too far left here, this one Roomba guy will be going left, and then the pattern here is just terrible. So you duck, kill both of those. So this is another section where I've changed over the previous world record. So I use a ninpo here so that I don't have to wait at all on either of these two pickups. It looks like there's some sort of weird bug where if you wait as long as you possibly can for the ninpo at the very end of this, like, grapple hook thing, there'll be no delay. So you'll use the ninpo, like, you won't see the sword come out, you'll use the ninpo, and then you can flip up, like, immediately. So you want to wait as long as possible, but not until the point where you're just hanging on the bar. So if you saw there, like, there was no sword. Just the ninpo came out, and then I started swinging up. And so since that takes so long to swing up there, I can just pick up that power up right away. So I just jump and start moving. Easy peasy. This is another, like, deceptive part. If you jump too early here, these guys on the right will actually fire at you, which goes along with the whole your height affects, like, these floating Amazon delivery drone guys. So I wait as long as I can, basically until that dude's about to hit me and jump up. And then they're just wherever they need to be, so you'll jump and kill them. Sometimes this left one will fire a bullet, but it'll be too low to hit you, so... Alright, so here's Stage 2, Section 3. Right here at the start, and I talk about this in later videos, mentioning that I forget to talk about it, but if you stop for a moment, you'll affect the shield dude's AI, and that'll basically make it so that you don't have to wait to kill them. So if you notice, right there, I stopped. It's only for like a frame. Like right now, I paused the video on the frame. But then I'm going to jump up here and kill this guy. If you don't do that stop, like just jump up each of those, like without letting go of right, that guy will put up his shield and you won't be able to kill him. That stop on the first platform right there stops him from putting up his shield. For whatever reason, it changes his AI. Here's where there's like a lot of options. I always kill this very first guy, but, you know, depending on how you want to use your ninpo and how you want to take your bonks, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hits you can possibly take here. So I kill the first guy, bonk on the second one. So my general mode of thought is that if I can save a sword slash, I'll do that. Instead of, like if I had bonked on the first guy, I would only save 1 sword slash. Here I saved 2. So obviously I was like, okay, I'll take the bonk on the second set of 2, and then that saves me 1 sword slash. I'll also mention that I think this is possibly one of the sections where I could have done better, and I'm not 100% sure because I haven't tested it. you might be able to use a ninpo to kill both of those dudes and this gunner guy, which would save you a whole bonk over what I'm doing right now. So that'll be something to look into. There, I use an ninpo to kill 3 guys, which saves me a bonk. And then I just bonk through this guy, bonk through this guy. Otherwise, if you didn't want to use that ninpo, you would have taken 2 damage there instead. And you'd be at 1 HP right now. Which isn't necessarily bad. You could do that too, and then you just are going to do something later on coming up here. This is the one shield guy that's a little different. I guess it's because it's on the conveyor belt. You need to actually run to the left a little bit. And when you run to the left, that's going to make it so you can kill this shield dude. These guys are extremely intimidating. You have to get right up in their face. Like, look how I have not ducked yet. That bullet is about to, like, blast my head off. But if you're this close and you duck, you'll be able to kill him. And then you only have to wait for that bullet instead of 3 bullets. And then you can jump and slash and kill this dude, too. This is the thing that would be different. So if you only had 1 HP, you'd have to do that same duck and kill thing that I did just now. But since I have 2 HP, I just take a hit here and run right through him. Then I stop for this shield dude. Same deal. If you're just starting out, there's a ninpo and a big health directly above where I just was. For a long time, I was just using an ninpo to kill both of those shield dudes and open up the big health and the ninpo up top, and then I'd flip up and pick them both up. It gives you a lot of leeway for starting out and makes this boss like way, way less intimidating. So keep that in mind if you're like having a rough time on this boss with 1 HP. Alright, so here's the stage 2 boss. I paused at the start of this, but I let it go through because I'm not recording these in one go. You want to be going into this boss with 1 HP and then 2 ninpo. Well, the HP doesn't really matter, but you want to have at least 2 ninpo so that for the start of the next stage. So what you want to do here, right at the start, you want to get in close, but you want to actually be, like, kind of further away, because the further away you are, the more swings you can get in. You can get in, like, at least 4, I think 5 hits on this first section, and then you have to back out a little. And then turn around, and you should be able to get another 3 hits in, at least. Which I didn't do here. And then turn around, and then go and do another 2 hits, or 3 hits. My goal for this first tiny section, I usually aim to have 10 hits in before he kicks. So what's going to happen here is he's going to kick, and you're going to have to, like, back out. And he's basically going to do that, like, 3 times, and he'll either be dead or nearly dead. What I've started doing, too, is on the first and second kick here, I've also started jumping to get the extra time in so I can get a 3rd hit in on the jump landing. So you'll notice, so I do that. So you see how the sword's out and then it's going to cancel and I can swing immediately again. So, like, I've started doing that just to get a little bit of extra damage in on those 2. I don't do it every time, and especially do not do it when these guys' names are Jack and Gregory. I think the little guy's name is Gregory. When Gregory is grabbing you, because you don't jump very high when he's grabbing you, so it's, like, completely pointless to do. You want to make sure you have enough space to get out. So I only hit him, like, twice once Gregory grabs me and then move to the left. and then turn around, and then start swinging again. Pretty much as soon as you see his foot out, you can turn to the right and start swinging, because if you see the foot, the damage box is already gone by the time you push the input. You can actually turn around. He can, like, start his kick, and you can turn around before his foot's out and hit him. You can hit him and be out of his range of his kick. It's just very tight. But so you're pretty much going to do that. This was like the, I guess, I'll call it the good pattern, where Gregory did not land on Jack's back. If Gregory lands on Jack's back, Jack does like a dash to the left. But as long as you get all of those hits in up to that point, you can actually kill him before he does the dash anyway. So it doesn't really matter. But if he's going to do the dash in, you pretty much, you're either going to die if you have 1 HP or take a hit and just start swinging to the left again. You can also, dodge it or whatever, but you're going to lose time. There's not anything really special about this boss outside of, just hit him as fast as you can. Try and maintain your mash rhythm. Well, swing rhythm. I won't call it mash because it's too slow to be a mash. Swing rhythm. But yeah. Alright, so here's stage 3, part 1. This is gonna be where, like, those short hops and, like, the whole timer thing I was talking about earlier is gonna come in really into play. So this first section, further down, I'm gonna just start the explanation right now. Further down, there's, like, a couple, like, fire flamethrower things that spin around in circles. I don't know when exactly they start. I think they start the moment the screen loads in. So they're like spinning right now. So you have to do this entire first section fairly perfectly if you want to get what I do here. So you gotta try and like minimize your mistakes. Again, I just do these jumps because that's whole like it just feels better to me. So you do a short hop. You want to be on this grate as late as possible. If you wait too long, you end up in this, like, mine thing that's floating through the air. And then you want to be climbing across it as late as possible. When you open this up, I let go as short a time as I can and then just jump. And you'll get it and go. On this guy, if you there's two options here on, I mean, you can do it perfectly. There's basically one pixel where you have to do this, where you do a jump slash and you'll kill him and fall down and land on this guy here. If you do it too early, you'll end up on the left side of the flamethrower wheel, which I actually think is the worst outcome. If you're gonna fail, you might as well just hit the guy. Because if you hit the guy, you still at least land on the top here. So you like don't stop moving as much, but like if you fail the other way, you end up like having to wait until your character falls all the way to the bottom. And so again, this is just like have really good movement, and this flame wheel will just like barely not hit you there. If you messed up anything before that, you'll get hit. It'll look exactly like this looked, but you'll take damage. The alternative strat that you can possibly do would be just like take that first bonk anyway and just wait this wheel out, and then you'd only have one hit anyway. In terms of how this stage is laid out, you can take damage in different spots, and so like it's kind of up to you on how what kind of risk reward you want here. So since if you take 2 hits here though, you're not gonna be able to do a deboost. I do like right up here. Uh, Here, I actually made a mistake in this video. I should have swung my sword here to kill this guy, but I got that last strat so fast that I was so excited that I kind of forgot what I was supposed to do here and didn't swing my sword. So I just swung when I landed. But at this point, it doesn't really matter. Outside of I wasted time because I'm swinging on the ground, and this is the thing you don't want to do because I mentioned that like 100 times. Don't do that. Instead, you'd want to swing to the ground and just immediately be running right. Like, take a hit on this flamethrower thing. You would have... Like, here it doesn't look that great because I swung on the ground there and waited a really long time so the flamethrower almost disappeared. But if you're going full speed, you'll be basically where I'm at right now, and that fire will be all the way out. You'll still have enough time to do this without taking any damage, though. So, you just want to do that as fast as you can. Even if you wait, the fire goes away before your invincibility goes away, so you're not actually in any danger when you're standing here after you get bonked. I push jump as soon as I see my knee line up with this wall and land on the wall. That seems to be the timing I got, so you might be able to go earlier. That's just what works for me. And then I do a little jump to the ceiling and drop down here. This is, again, another one of those, like, Mega Man things where I'm like, well, I want to try and have, like, the most momentum I can as early as possible. And then this just kill that guy. Here, I line myself up with this little, like, I don't even know what they are, these notches in the ground to jump. I do a short jump to kill this first guy. And then a short jump and a slash. You want to swing on your like first frame after your jump here to kill this guy, because if you wait too long, you won't hit him. You can actually jump over this guy. Like, you can make the gap between that enemy and this missile if you height your jump right. But it's just, it's easier to just kill the guy. Or at least try to kill the guy, and maybe you'll mess up the kill and still get the jump anyway. Oh, I should also mention that I've restarted a bunch of times, so like the ninpo and the health I have might not be right at this point, but that's like the strat that will get you through that stage section. So here's stage 3, part 2. There's a couple ways to do this right here. But honestly, the other ways that I've saw people doing, which was how I was doing it to begin with, where you jump from here onto the platform, like it's honestly just easier to do what the old world record was doing and what I'm doing, where you just hold right this entire time and land. Like, that's infinitely easy. You should never bother trying to do jumps or anything, because you're just going to mess yourself up, because you have to do like 3 hard jumps right in a row. So you just hold right until you land here, and then you do 1 tiny jump to kill this floating guy. And it's free. This, you want to wait until you're further right and do a high jump. You have to hold down jump for a long time. If you do a short jump or even a medium jump and then you're not far enough to the right, you're not going to make this, and you're just going to fall into the pit. So just be further right. Like, basically, I try and line myself up with the right edge of this, like, background conveyor belt thing, and just do a full jump. And as soon as I see that my height was higher than this grate, I just start mashing the, like, jump button again to flip up as soon as I can. If you take too long to flip up here, these guys will fire at you when they're not supposed to, which just goes back to this whole like their timer is based on like both the stage and where your positioning is. So you need to flip up as soon as you can, and then you do a jump. And here at this part, I'm a little bit further ahead in the video, but take a step back here, flip up. This is another thing where I line myself up the right side of my character with this like vertical thing, like basically like right there, and then just do a full jump. If you've messed up and you took too long, this guy right here will have already fired a bullet, and there's gonna be a bullet like right here that hits you, and avoiding it is practically impossible. So you just do a full jump, you land, and then you're just as far as right as you can do another full jump. If you jump too early, you run the risk of hitting this floating guy, but like just wait as long as you can, you'll be alright. And then this is another section where you just run and fall off and then swing to kill this guy, and then do a short hop. You can, if your jump is like too high and you end up on top of this, just keep running to the right. Don't bother flipping back down, because it takes longer to flip back down than it does to just run off and fall. But again, you just line yourself up with the right side of that conveyor belt, push down, jump. This guy, depending on what you did, if you ended up messing up and on top of that and had to run off and fall down, this guy will be much higher. He'll be up here at the top. But he should be high enough that you can do a high jump and kill him here and still be okay. Alternatively, right now, what's going to happen is he's going to try to shoot you whenever you jump. So if you jump too early, he's going to be able to hit you. So you want to wait as long as possible and do a short hop slash. Like that. You see how he pulled out his gun like as soon as I jumped? There's just something where when you cross the boundary between being below him and being above him, he tries to shoot you. So you have to wait as long as possible. And then you're fine. Goes into auto walk. This pulls you up. Nothing really. You can't. There's nothing to do here. It's just auto scroller. And then I'm holding right already at the start of this. Here I try and do a short hop, and then I do a full jump. So like I'll do a short hop, and then I'll just hold down the jump button the entire time to jump all the way up. And then you could do another short hop here and slash this dude. But honestly, the as long as you did everything else up to this point right, this scroll lines up so perfectly that you should just attack from the ground. And then, depending on where you are, like right now, I'm already holding jump. And then I'll jump on the first frame and land on top of this. And this guy's bullet will never hit you because you delayed long enough that it just goes right by. Then you jump up, slash, kill that guy. And then here's the final... I think this is different than what the old world record was doing. So I actually take a deboost here. I jump past this electric thing and kill that guy, and then just go and throw the grappling hook. The way the game seems to work, once the grappling hook's out, it's out. Like, it doesn't matter that you take damage. Like, it's still going. So even though well, there the hook was already at the ceiling. If the hook wasn't even at the ceiling yet, though, like, and I got hit, it doesn't cancel the grappling hook. So, like, don't try and push to do the grappling hook again. Just let the grappling hook do what it does once you start it. You can do this fast enough that you won't get hit, but you have to be perfect. Literally perfect. I've only ever done it one time, but it's definitely possible, RTA. And then, again, I do the whole Mega Man thing where I do a tiny jump to make sure I have maximum fall velocity. So here's stage 3, part 3. So my damage values, I've mentioned this in the other videos, I'm not recording these in one go, so I'm just dying intentionally to restart stages. So my health is like not at the right values they're supposed to be at. When you come into this stage, there's basically your life will vary. If you're only at 2 hit points left, you can only take 1 deboost. So what I take the first deboost because I think it's easier to fix the second deboost than it is to fix the first deboost and do the middle section right. If you have 3 hits, you just go into the boss with 1 less health than normal. If you have 4 hits, you're gonna go in the boss with full health. So just keep that in mind that if you're really low on health, you have to adjust what you do. If you only have 1 HP, you can't do any of the deboosts, and then you have to adjust everything. So it's just gonna be different. So first things first, I do a jump. I do a jump here. This is purely to line me up where I want to be lined up at. So I jump on this background console thing. Like when this is here, I do a short hop down into this pit. And then immediately do a full jump. And that'll be over top of this flamethrower thing, where when you get bonked, you'll land up on this platform. Instead of, if you wait too long and jump, you'll end up back down in the first section and then have to do another jump. I then stop with my right foot kind of aligned. I think I'm a little too far to the right here, really, but it doesn't matter a lot. Just you can't be much further right than this. So I just wait until I see this flamethrower down here go all the way out, and then I'll start running and do a full jump. And so, see, even there, I waited a little bit too long. You want to be landing down here right when that flamethrower disappears, and then immediately grapple hook the ceiling. And so, this is actually another section where I do things differently. So, the reason I'm doing it like that is, this was the section I actually timed out, where I did a bunch of different strats, and this is what I ended up figuring out was the fastest. But that was before even I took into account this thing, so they lined up perfectly where I killed that enemy and opened the box at the same time. As long as you... Even if you're... So, sometimes you might come in here with 2 HP, and you'd be at 1 HP blinking right now, about to die. Even if you're in that state, you want to just take this hit from this enemy. You have to wait so that you can pick up the power-up, but as soon as you're, like, able to pick up the power-up, or about to be able to pick up the power-up, you take the hit, it'll do the, oh, I'm hurt animation, but then it'll pick up the power-up and you'll be completely fine. And you can start running. And so you see, I'm even inside of, like, this flamethrower wheel, so, like, that's how you know I'm going fast right now. Like, I'm that far ahead that, like, and it's not hurting me because I have the iframes from the deboost, so that's, like, as good as that can get. And then I'm gonna deboost on this guy. Another option, going back to the option select things that I think this makes this game interesting is, if you didn't use a ninpo earlier on in the earlier stages, so, like, maybe you skipped, like, 1 in stage 2, where you decide not to use any on the conveyor belt, let's say, you could ninpo this guy, and the flame will already be gone, so you won't have to deboost on this guy, even. I just, the way the routing worked out for me, this guy, I'd be at either 2 or 1 HP taking a deboost on this guy, so that's what I ended up doing. If you do end up taking ninpo to kill that guy and just going forward, you have to land to the left of this guy first and then do a short hop over if you want to have these all lined up the way they're supposed to be lined up. So there I waited just so that guy was just out of the way for me to sneak up, and I'm just gonna run right off. This guy just goes out of the way and you can just go straight on through. And you want to try and jump as early as possible to, like, open this up so that you only have to wait a split second for that power up. Alright, here's the stage 3 boss. This boss is like super straightforward. The one caveat I'll say is that I think it's way faster if you're jump slashing than if you're slashing from the ground. Every time you cancel a sword swing and jump and do another swing like as fast as you can, like you've saved time because that sword swing takes less frames. So, and you can tell this straight off the bat. If you run right in and start swinging on him from the ground, like you usually are only going to get 6, maybe 7 hits. But if you're jump slashing, you're going to get 8 every time. You might even be able to get 9 if you're really quick about it. So that's what's going to happen right here at the beginning. So there's your 8 hits right off the bat. That's already like a quarter of his health gone, which is good because this guy's a super jerk. He's gonna like try and kill you every step of the way. I actually, as you see, I have full life right now, and one ninpo, I died. Like when I was trying to do this. So what I do though, after I take that first hit, I always just go straight through him and then turn around and start slashing. I don't want him to come back into the corner. The way with these jump slashes, it's a lot easier if he continually runs, because you can keep up with him with the jump slashes. And again, here I also should mention, I don't think I mentioned this in the first tutorial setup. When you swing, you like won't turn around. Your character won't flip positions. So there I just like jumped and swung and then started holding down left. I was basically inside of him, so I don't think it would have mattered, but that can be kind of useful if you need to go in a direction, but you need to swing the other way. You just make sure you swing before you start pushing the direction. And then you just keep jump slashing, and he's dead. And see, I only took 3 hits there. Like, when I started running this game, it would take me 5 hits every single time. So that's a decently quick kill, even, so. You just gotta, like, you know, respect the boss. Respect Colonel Allen, because that's his name. So here's stage 4. The first section, it's like pretty basic, but there's like a lot of chances to get hit. If you do it perfectly, you won't get hit, but it's also, I think, RNG dependent on how the ninja stars get thrown here. So just pop this up here. You want to jump like further back. You can actually jump one time and kill both of these enemies, but it's a lot easier to jump twice and kill each of them separately. And then you just jump over these ninja star guys here. I usually try and jump like as soon as I land on that last one again, just to break this the item storage box thing. And then you just gotta wait a split second to jump and get it. Here's the like first there was like a bunch of different ways I was doing this. This is the way I ended up doing it at the end in my world record attempt too. So you wait for this ninja star to go by, and then you do the shortest hop you can possibly do. Any amount of jump will get you up on this ledge. So just do a single frame jump. Don't get your input eaten. And at the moment you land, do another jump, and then attack, and you'll kill this floating guy before he hits you. If you take too long, he'll hit you. Just jump and swing and keep moving. You'll kill him, and you'll get by the guy throwing down his ninja stars too. There's like the first RNG check. If that dude had thrown that first ninja star to the right, I think it's guaranteed to hit you. I don't think you can avoid it. So I got super lucky there. There's another thing where you just do a full jump to kill this guy, and then turn around. You move as little left as possible as you can, and just jump straight up and swing, and then go back to the right. As soon as your sword starts coming out, start holding down right, and then again just do as short a jump as you can, and you'll get up on this ledge and you can run right out. So here's stage 4, part 2. The big thing here is going to be like stopping at certain parts to adjust the enemy AI, which I should have mentioned before with the shield dudes on stage 2, but I did not. So you're going to jump over this ninja star. And then coming up is going to be a ledge with a shield dude on it. You'll see that I stop. It'll be very visible here, because this one I stopped for a long time. You pretty much just, as soon as they're spawned in, you want to stop, and then they won't be able to put up their shield. So for whatever reason, that little like pause that I did stops their AI from putting up the shield, and then you can go in and kill them without having to like wait for them to put it back down. This next one is the same thing, but I do the pause in the air, because you have to like where the ninja star is ends up being where you want to do the pause. So you just jump and then pause in the air. And then again, I just fall off the ledge and slash. I don't bother jumping or anything. So this one's a bit tricky. And what you want to do is, if you don't have a feel for it, like, they don't actually have to be off the screen. If they're just barely on the screen, you can stop and it'll still be okay. I've just done it enough that I can kind of tell roughly where it's going to be at. And you have like a pretty wide margin, so it's not like super tight on where you're at when you do it. You just want to stop and start as soon as you can. So specifically on this guy, there's like ledges above you that you can't see. So this item is like sitting on top of a ledge over here, and then there's a gap, and then another ledge directly above me. So if you jump too early, you end up grabbing the ledge. So what you want to do is wait as late as possible and jump like right next to the guy, because then you'll be jumping in this gap. You won't grab anything, so it'll end up saving a little bit of time. If you do end up grabbing the ledge, you just drop back down as quickly as you can. And then this guy's the same deal. I already actually am past the part where I stopped, but basically he's on the screen when I stopped already. But this guy is so close to this ledge up here that there's really no way around like killing him and not grabbing the ledge. So you just gotta, like, as soon as you grab the ledge, just drop back down. Unfortunately, these laser beam shooting dudes that run along the floor, there doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason to them. Sometimes there'll be a lot. Other times there'll just be one. And whether they're on the ceiling or the floor seems completely arbitrary too. This time I got some bad luck, and he was on the floor and really far to the left, so I couldn't avoid him. If he had been a little bit more to the right, I could have, like, gap jumped him between, because there's no, like, platform above me. You just jump over him and you're fine. Otherwise, if they're on the ceiling, like, you can just keep running right. You like, and completely ignore them. If it's on the floor, you just jump over them the best you can. This shield dude is actually a little different than the rest. So normally you would have stopped like way back here, but I guess since he's way on top of a platform, his like AI cycles completely if you stop early. So if you stop early and just try and go up and kill him, he'll throw up his shield anyway. So what you have to do is, when you do the jump to this ledge great thing that you grab, just move like a little bit to the left, and moving to the left resets their AI too. And then that's just enough that you can kill him. And here we're going to do the whole Mega Man jumping down in the pit thing again. And what you want to do is be pretty far right, but not all the way right. If you're like pushed up against this wall, the AI on these ninja guys is going to start, and he's going to throw a ninja star. But if you're a little bit to the left, you can throw out a ninpo, and then it'll hit this guy and the other dude that's up here kind of off screen, without them being able to throw their ninja stars, so you won't have to wait at all. Again, you want to do this before you touch the ground, so that as soon as you touch the ground, you can keep moving to the right. So you should never, like, once you jump and have thrown out your ninpo, like, just start holding down right and never let go. Then you just do a couple short hops up to victory. Here, I do a couple jumps. Once this wall comes down and hits the bottom wall, I do 5 full jumps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I wait a little bit and we'll do a short hop. and then that's like exactly when this ground is going to explode. It's kind of like you kind of have to get a feel for it, and I messed it up in this video itself, unfortunately. So I was like a little bit high there, so I didn't have max falling speed. But that's all of section 2. Alright, here's stage 4, section 3. This one's like pretty straightforward. There's not a lot to it. It's just you gotta jump fast and get your hook, like grappling hook things to be as fast as they can be. One thing I'll mention is that if you're moving left and flip up, you actually flip up slower than if you're moving right. So normally I'm trying to look right when I'm flipping up. It's not by a lot, but it can mess things up sometimes. So I try and avoid it. For these sections, and there, I don't know if you noticed, I moved a little bit to the right before I threw that grappling hook. If you flip up and throw the grappling hook, it won't read, like, this bar won't have loaded in, so it won't grapple anything. So I do that there, and then again up here on this one. And as long as you, like, do that and keep the momentum going when I flip up here and jump up twice, you'll also be able to avoid this laser that shoots down. You see there, I was, like, really far ahead of it, but, like, sometimes it'll be close, other times it'll be, like, nowhere near you. It just depends on, I think, how fast the screen has scrolled up to that point. I do a couple... It looks like I'm doing weird jumps for no reason here, but actually, these jumps make the enemy up above, like, move differently. I think it's actually only this first jump that matters, but I do a couple. But this enemy up here, I don't even know if I got it on this attempt. I think I did, but it looks really far to the right. Depending on what you've done, if you did exactly what I just did, including all of the, like, jumps to maintain momentum, this guy will be further or not left or right, unless you do those jumps that I did right below this. Oh yeah, you also have to stop on that dude, because if you try and jump past him, you end up blocking him, so you have to wait for, like, 1 frame. But so the reason I did that was just so that the other stuff was so that it can line up where I can do a short hop and slash this open. And grab that right away, without needing to, like, do, like, a grapple onto this bar. Alright, so here's the stage 4 boss. Apparently his actual name is Hukasai? I don't know, it might be Hokusai. Because when I tried to search for it, that was what came up. The boss here is a bit tricky. So I actually saved up all of my ninpo for this boss, essentially. Like, you have to have 5. If you don't have 5 going in, it's going to be extremely hard to 2-cycle this boss. So, and realistically, even with 5, you don't always 2-cycle, because you need to get more than 2, or at least 2 hits, and I think one of them has to be a 3-hit on every single ninpo. Or have, like, a single hit and a quad hit or something. And then hit 12 times on each time he comes down at least. So I have like a setup that I do, which is I line myself up on this pixel, like halfway between like the edge of the brick there and the white piece. And when his knee kinda aligns with this, I do my first jump and throw my ninpo. And that's pretty much guaranteed to be at least one double hit. So there's my first double hit. The second ninpo is actually the hardest one in my mind to do. And I try and get 3 of my ninpos here before he comes down the first time. If you get the good RNG. Because it's too hard. If you get the good RNG and then he comes down immediately on the second set, it's too hard to throw out 2 ninpos between him going back up and coming back down if you have like god RNG. So I jump to the left and then I jump right and throw out a ninpo. I think in this video it looks like it didn't work right. Like he'll only flash once, but he had to have gotten hit more than one time here. And then I just jump up and fire to the left again here. If this was not God tier RNG, if this was God tier RNG, he would have stopped right there and come down. So since it wasn't, I went and used the next ninpo too right away. Just so I can focus only on the hits when he comes down here. If he had come down and then I'd hit him a bunch and he went back up, he'd like go back up like right here, and like a second later he'd come back down. So he'd go back up, you'd do a jump and throw out an info, and then he'd come back down. You have just enough time to get a jump, throw out the ninpo, land, and then jump and start attacking him again. If you get the god RNG. Otherwise, he does whatever he wants. Here, I got okay RNG, but like he threw out like realistically, you don't want any ninja stars. But when he stops, he's gonna come down roughly wherever you're standing. I find it's a lot harder if he's going on like a sharp angle. If he's coming straight down, like if you were underneath him when he stopped, like it's a lot easier to manage. But you can still do it. Like here, I'm even going to be able to do it here, and this is like a pretty sharp angle, I think. So when he comes down, you want to jump up and slash him at least twice in the air, and make sure to cancel that last slash. If you can get a third hit even, like that's all the better. But you want to at least get 7 hits before you jump out of the way of this flame, the fan. And then 8 and 9 will be in the air, and then 10 will be on the ground. And then you want to get 11, 12 while he's flying away. It's possible to get 13, actually. You can sneak in an 8th hit before the fan gets you, depending on how well you timed your jump swings and stuff. But 12 is enough. 12 will get you the 2 cycle if your ninpo worked out just fine. So he went up, and I think he comes down pretty reasonably here. Oh, no, I guess not. But then it's the same thing when he comes down. I jump, swing twice, and then start crouching and swinging. Get 7 hits. Jump, swing. The one where it landed was 10, and then this is 11, and 12 is going to kill him. He was kind of high there. So, optimally, you want him as low as possible. The higher he is, this screen does not go away until he's fallen off of the bottom. So if you messed it up and he's like flying around the top and you're like, oh man, I have 1 ninpo left, I should like use the ninpo to kill him. You can do that, but just keep in mind that he's gonna have to fall all the way down, and you will probably lose 10 seconds to him falling all the way down. Like even this one was that's a pretty long kill there. Compared to if he was still on the ground. And you can 100% kill him from on the ground. I've had ones where I've only hit him with 20-ish swings. So like 12 on the first, and then like 9 on the second one. And he was like, he didn't even jump away yet. It just depends on how many times your ninpo hits him. This is... I'm gonna be honest, this is literally the, like, run killer of this run. Like, you will, if you get a good time, you'll be running back to this boss purely hoping for good RNG over and over again. And that's kind of why I like decided to just go for the 2-cycle kill, because the 2-cycle kill removes one more time when he could just be up throwing out more ninja stars. And that was the whole reason I started changing things in the run. But that's pretty much like what you can do, and you can still get a very good time even with like a bad fight here, and I think the 2-cycle makes this a lot more manageable than it was before. But it's still like it's pretty RNG heavy. But this is like the only spot that I would consider like bad for this run in terms of how heavy it is on RNG. Alright, so here's stage 5, part 1. There's honestly like not much to this. I take a route that I take extra damage to save a ninpo in this first section, because I think the second section is better off for it. I'm always jumping into these flamethrower guys. This is another thing where I'm like, I'm not sure if it really matters. Like, you could walk right into it and then just like walk into a jump slash and kill him. It just feels like this way is better. Like, this is one of those like, oh man, it's just like intuition or whatever. So, I mean, that's another thing that someone somewhere else can be like, oh, I'll actually look and see which is better. Again, here, I do a little jump to pick this up, like, and start moving so that I can be further to the right when I kill this dude here. You can wait and just kill him later. This is better. If you were going to not take an extra hit, so this is where you would use ninpo in the alternate strat. The alternate strat would be like to take that bonk and then use ninpo when you fall, so you don't have to take a bonk over here on the right. That would make you like leave this stage with 1 extra HP, and I'll explain in the 5-2 video the alternative strat on what to do if you don't want to do it this way. Here, this is the whole thing where you don't want to be on the ground when you're using ninpo, so I do like a short hop and ninpo here, so that I can start moving as fast as possible, because if you're not moving to the right, you're not gonna break. There's 2 item boxes over here, a ninpo box and a health box. The ninpo box you're always gonna break, but the health box won't be broken unless you've moved to the right. I'm voiceover in the wrong video. I forgot, I didn't actually do it in one shot. I died once. Just make sure I do this. Alright, let's start over. Whoops. Do this again. Alright, so here's stage 5-1. This is pretty straightforward. I always jump into these flamethrower guys. You could also just walk into them and jump out and slash, but this way feels better to me. So someone else would have to go and like check which is actually faster. It's probably only different by like a frame or two either way. Again, I like jump to pick this up and start moving right as quick as possible so that I'm further right along the stage. Because the timing on these like floating dudes that are going to come up, the way they shoot is based on the stage timer. So here's where, if you were doing the alternative strat, you'd want to use an ninpo right here. The way I do it, I take extra damage on this screen and have an extra ninpo on the next screen to like counterbalance. I feel like the next screen is better to use the ninpo on. It purely should be a wash because you take an extra hit here, whereas on the other screen you take an extra hit there the other way. And I'll explain in the other video where you would take the extra hit in the 5-2 video. So, but here you use an ninpo and kill these dudes. Otherwise, you're just going to take another hit on this right flamethrower guy. And so here I'm doing this jump so that I can do the whole ninpo in the air and then keep moving as soon as you land thing. So that right over here is 2 item boxes, a ninpo and then a health. The ninpo is always going to be opened up, but the health will only open up if you move right fast enough. So there you see the health open up. And you need to make sure to do that low enough, because if you jump and, like, if you do the ninpo at, like, the peak of your jump, you'll actually, like, since the ninpo kind of goes up and to the right, you'll actually miss the health thing. So you need to make sure you do it low to the ground, too. And this is another one where you use your iframes from picking up this item to, like, just go right through this bullet and then kill this guy. The hitbox on these floating dudes is, like, gigantic. Like, really gigantic. So you don't have to be anywhere near them to kill them. So just, like, as soon as you jump, swing, and you'll get him. And these jumping dudes with the grenades, I didn't mention this in any of my other videos, but, like, you don't have to be afraid of the grenades. They don't actually hurt you, I don't think. Either that, or they always get thrown over you or something. Either way, you can just run straight into them and jump and swing, and you'll be in no issue, even if he gets the grenade out. Here, you'll notice the guy's not here yet. They spawn when you jump. So as long as you wait long enough, you'll be able to jump, and, like, this guy won't have time to hit you, and also you'll be able to kill this dude on the right. But you have to make sure to wait long enough. If you jump and, like, swing at the peak of your jump, you're gonna kill the guy floating in the air. And you'll see at the end of this, in the end of this section, I'll show you. But for whatever reason, when, like, let's say this dude jumps and throws his grenade, if you swing and it looks like it should kill this guy, but it would have hit the dude that's floating in the air, it'll kill the dude that's floating in the air, and this guy will live. So just wait, like, a little bit out of the peak of your jump, and you'll get this guy first instead. So, see, no problem, and those bullets are nowhere near you. Another, just, like, taking your hit, moving on. Same thing here, just jump over this dude's bullet and kill him. Here, this is the section I was talking about, where I was like, I'll show you later on. This guy's gonna come down. I do a full jump here and slash. And see, it still kills that guy. It doesn't matter, like, that I was on the right. Their hitbox is so huge that they just get hit by it anyway. I actually think it might be worse to kill this dude. Like, I think it might lag the game a little bit when you kill that guy. But whatever, it's sweet swag, so here you are. Here's a 5-2. This section is a lot of the shield dudes again, and then some timing based on how fast you went. So it's, again, the same thing. You just want to stall here, like, that shield dude's... This is another thing where, look how far on the screen he is, and this is still valid. I stopped right there. This is the frame where I stopped moving, and that's still okay. I try and stop then, again, for this next one, I stop right here. And then right there. And when I kill this second guy, I stop for the guy that's going to be on this next platform up. But these two guys, actually there's a strat that is a bit harder to pull off. I didn't end up doing it in the world record, but if you wait until this guy is just barely spawned, you can stop one time for both of these together. Which will save you, like, a couple frames, but, you know, whether you want to grind that out or not, it's way harder. Because if you wait too long, this guy will be too far forward, and he'll have thrown up his shield already. And you gotta make sure, for this guy, you have to make sure you jump really early to avoid this laser here. If you wait too long, that laser's gonna hit you, and then that guy's gonna throw up a shield, and then you're double whammied. But as long as you get up here, this next laser you'll be able to avoid. You can get, like, right up in the face of this laser and avoid it, even after the grapple hook. Like, there, I don't know, like 4 pixels away. Like, your right arm can be inside of this guy and still have enough time to make it. I just didn't wait that long. Another, like, I fell. I was trying to pause it on the frame where I threw out the ninpo, but I fell, threw out the ninpo, and then landed on the ground and kept moving to the right. So, I mentioned in the last video, this is the section where if you didn't save the ninpo in 5-1, you'd not want to use a ninpo here. Instead, you would stop. Where I threw the ninpo out, you'd stop. I try and aim for this pillar right here. Like, my head will be, like, right aligned with this pillar. I'd stop for a frame and then keep going. And right where I'm standing right now, no. A little bit to the right of where I'm standing right now, I would do a short hop and slash to kill the shield dude. The shield dude will be inside of the flamethrower guy's flame, but as long as you are close enough to not, like, get caught up on this thing up here, you'll still kill the shield dude before you get hit, and then when you get hit, you just do another short hop slash, and the flames won't kill you. Like, they won't hit you a second time. This way, I think is easier. It doesn't save any time, necessarily, but it's definitely easier, and it could possibly be beneficial down below here, as you'll see. So I fall down. You want to, as far right as you can, you want to flip down and go to the left. This screen has, like, a ton of lag because there's 2 of these flamethrower guys at once. I'm not killing this top one, but I think it's probably possible. But I do kill this bottom one, which definitely reduces lag when you fall down here. So, depending on the strat you did, if you ended up getting bonked up at the top, the way this works is, as soon as you land, you do a short hop and throw out your ninpo, and you're gonna kill, like, the flamethrower, this guy on the left, and a dude over, like, right. He's right off screen. You can't see him. Alternatively, I'll mention another thing. If you didn't kill the guy that's up here and did the strat where you bonked all the way up the top, this laser shooting guy that's off screen won't spawn. So that's another possible strat that you could potentially use. But the route I went with, I end up running forward and doing a little jump and throwing out ninpo here. And they just open up and it kills them. I try and throw out the ninpo so that they're, like, inside of it when they're about to shoot, so that the laser doesn't actually come out. Because if the laser comes out, you can't avoid it. The way I'm doing it. So you have no choice but to do it that way. If you did it one of the other ways, you could potentially be further to the right. Well, the laser will be further left, you'll be further to the right, and avoid the laser. The caveat there is this guy will then have fired sooner, so you'll potentially have this laser in your way anyway. I just take this hit, which that's pretty far forward. You can almost, like, I might have been able to even do it there, jump up and grapple this thing to avoid that laser, and then just walk straight off of this ledge and duck, and that'll avoid that laser. Here's another, like, alternate strat that's, like, way harder. You can get hit by that laser, and this laser, if you jump perfectly, you can avoid it. Like, you can not get hit by this laser if you do a frame perfect jump. Which I didn't get there, which is why I did the other duck thing. Because it's way easier to do that, and the time save is very negligible either way. But I think optimally you'd get hit by one of those lasers, jump over the other one, and go through to the next section. All right, so here's the final stage, 5-5-3. Uh, I'll say this stage is super straightforward. One thing I've noticed is the very first frame you show up, you can do things. I would say do not, like, definitely don't throw out an impo. For some reason you have an impo. Don't sword slash either, because if you do that, like, your character stops moving, and I think it actually takes longer to, like, complete this stage if you do either of those things. Uh, Otherwise, you pretty much, this is like straightforward. There's not much I can say. You just ride this up and avoid the lasers as you're going. I tried to not do a bunch of extra movement here in this video, so I like just pick up the things as I'm going and then move to exactly where I need to. Let's be real. Normally when I'm doing this, I'm like jumping all over the place because I'm like, this is super boring. But as long as you do exactly what I'm doing here, you're never gonna get hit. Not a chance. I will say, at this part, there's another option here, which I used to do. I used to jump over this top laser. I just find it a lot easier to just flip down to the bottom. So. And then that's the auto-scroller section. Easy. At least it's not that long. Then, here's the final boss. I'm gonna pause this for a moment to mention this. So I run into the corner and duck and turn. This might be one of the sections where I'm actually worse compared to the old world record. The old world record keeps him over on the right corner and takes a bunch of deboosts. The way I do it is basically the same thing without the deboosts on the left side. So if you go watch the old world record, I think their timing is actually better than mine, but I'm gonna just explain what I ended up doing, and I think it mostly comes down to how fast you can, not how fast, how good you are at timing your swings. So if you swing your times right, I think it doesn't necessarily matter which way you do, because he's gonna do 3 jumps either way, and one of them's gonna be all the way across the screen. But I find this way to be very easy, and you avoid taking a hit, so. I'll also mention here, which I have not mentioned before in the other bosses. I kind of mentioned it on the Stage 4 boss. Sometimes the bosses don't flash when you swing. They still take damage, even if they don't flash. I don't know why. It happens on this boss a lot, though, where I've swung through him, and he was either already flashing or not flashing yet, and he, like, it didn't look like anything happened, but he took damage. So keep that in mind. If you're, like, swinging a lot here, just count your swings. Every swing you do is probably gonna have done damage if it's inside of, like, you know, the square around the boss. Ideally, you want to 2-cycle this boss, which is 16 or 17 hits on each cycle, which is possible without ninpo. During this attempt, I used ninpo just because I think that's what I did in the world record, but it's possible to do it with no ninpo. You'll notice there I didn't do the jumping thing the entire time. Since you're doing so many slashes in a row, it's just way easier to time it out with the straight slashes. It could theoretically be faster jumping, and that's like what the Taz does too, but just it's so much harder in RTA to maintain your jump slashes than it is to just slash straight to the ground like that in 10 times in a row. So what I do is I do a jump and 1, 2, or 3 slashes. Well, 2 or 3 slashes. Then I land, and when I get to 10 slashes, I start jumping again, because that's when he starts getting to the point where he might be too high to hit from the ground, and you definitely do not want to miss a swing. I think in this attempt, I got 15 slashes, and then I use one ninpo. So I think he's at 17 hits so far. And then I just go over and I kind of drag him back into the corner. He always does the same number of lightning strikes, so if you do that exact pattern, he's always going to end up back in this corner on the last lightning strike. And then I pull him out so that he's kind of in line with, like, this thing on the background. I don't know what it, like, the podium or whatever. And then 1, 2, yeah. So, same thing where I slash him basically 10 times and then start jump slashing. The reason why I mentioned this podium thing is because I use that, I'm like lining up my sword slash there. If you see how I'm like inched my way forward. So I slash so that my sword is just barely inside of this space, because that's where I'm going to be able to hit this boss at. Unfortunately here, I think I fired this jump ninpo too early. He's actually invulnerable for a while when he shows up. So you want to jump and shoot the ninpo basically as soon as he would like be vulnerable, and then get another jump and start swinging him on the way down. So I probably jumped like 1-ish frames too early. And then it's just, you know, mash fest. I do a short hop ninpo here to fire again, and then start swinging right away. Again, this is the whole, like, you fire ninpo in the air and you're faster than if you fire it from the ground. And that makes you so you can start swinging faster too here. I think I messed up and took a hit here. Ideally, you want to make it, once this middle one goes by you, you want to, like, jump and start swinging so that the bottom one can go by you. But yeah, see, so I took a hit there. So you'd want to have jumped over that one. But it's like the same thing no matter what. So you'd swing and he starts jumping. I run a little bit to the right and then you jump and start slashing. You can get 2 jump slashes in the air if you time it right. Which I did there. And then you just land, duck, and start swinging. If you do this perfectly, you won't... He's gonna do these arrow things again, going left. And you won't get hit by them. I think I'm too far to the right here again. Yeah, so I was too far to the right there. So if you notice, I like jumped and swung and moved back to the left. So I tried to keep attacking while adjusting my positioning, which sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. It looked like he dodged it this time, so it didn't really matter. If you're fast enough, and in the current world record, I kill him over here, which is why I think it's fairly close to the old world record time, but I think the old world record still has like a little bit of an edge on the boss fight over what the current one has. If he jumps to the left, you just jump left, keep hitting him, and you'll get him. So, took me like 3 extra swings. That was mostly because I took the extra D-boost on the left that I shouldn't have taken. And so yeah, that's the Ninja Gaiden Shadow speedrun. I know there's like a lot of stuff to this game for like a Game Boy game, but I think it's pretty neat, and hopefully some more people start doing the runs here, because there's definitely still time to save. I don't want to say it's a free world record up for grabs, because it still took me a while to get as good as I am, but there's definitely like 10-ish or so seconds to save over what I've already done. And I hope someone's able to push it further than it is right now.